Clock. I'd like to start and call the meeting to order. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. It's Wednesday, July 11th, 2018. And for the record, the Finance Committee does have a quorum this evening. Also present is Town Manager Mike Units and our Recording Secretary, Kaylee Sims. Mike, tonight we'll be doing some transfer requests. And why don't you have the floor now? Or I think you'd rather start and just give an overview of the town meeting, correct?
Just give an overview. We had a budget presentation meeting here. Thank the people that did come to that, and I know that cable filmed it. Just to explain to people what the budget, you have the packet, more or less the information that we talked about. Just to explain to people the process and that there's only so much money that we have to work with and what we do when we go through and formulating the budget and what the cherry sheet is, what new growth is, what the 2.5 increment is, and we gave a link to the state website that you can actually go on and they have videos on there explaining 2.5. And then breakdown of the process with the Finance Committee, how the Finance Committee reviews the budgets and makes the final recommendations at town meeting. And, hopefully people that were here and people that will watch it, we're able to get some understanding that we have to work under 2.5 and we have a limited amount of money to work with. And we also gave this information that's up on the screen now that just breaks down the percentages of where all the funds go so people could see that. Our fixed and shared expenses, the balance of general government accounts, fixed general government expense, the schools and the regional schools and agricultural schools. This sheet I produced here just because there was a lot of discussion on the school budget at town meeting, so I just wanted to give you a perspective of the budget that you approved this year and where it fits with the neighboring towns, Easton, Foxborough, Mansfield. So this year, the Easton school budget increased 3.38%, Foxborough 2.64%, Mansfield 2.8%, and Norton 3.33%. So we were just slightly below Easton in our percentage increase and higher than Foxborough and Mansfield. Then I added on that chart at the top, school choice. Easton, Foxborough, and Mansfield don't have school choice as a revenue source. So I added in the increase of the school choice money this year was $227,183. So the Easton budget went up $1,351,291. Foxborough increased their budget only $901,521. Mansfield $1,374,648, and Norton $1,135,472. And then down below, put in the total increase of the 4 budgets. And then I just showed you the school populations in each community in 2016 and 17 and 2017 and 18, so that you can see every community is plummeting in school population. And then the last per pupil spending increase. If you look at that, you'll see that Norton increased their spending on schools this year about $100 more per student than Easton, Foxborough, and Mansfield. So just to give some perspective, not saying what amount is right or how it should be spent, just saying with the money that we have available, the effort that was made. And if you have any questions on any of the information in here, just let me know. The transfers, we have some transfers tonight. I'd just like to, the first request is for legal. It's a request for $500 that were shot in the legal account. We never know, obviously, what's going to come up as far as cases or work that we have to do. And we were 500 shot, close, but didn't make it.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Tom?
I move that we transfer $500 from the FinCom reserve to account number 001-151-570-5300 legal services.
Second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, motion carries.
Conservation, $455.37. What this has been is they've been working with the town accountant's office on balancing fees that have been deposited by developers. And once a project's done and all the expenses are ironed out, they're supposed to return what's left. And in balancing out those accounts, they realized they were off and owed $455.37 to somebody, and they were short that in their account.
Okay. Any
Mr. Chairman?
questions? Yes?
I'm sorry.
Any questions?
I do have a question. So in this particular instance, this is money that we're giving back after it was returned to us?
Right, they just balanced out those accounts to get them all even.
Do you have a motion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move $455.37 from the FinCom reserve to account number 001-171-570-5701, conservation outside fees.
Second.
Second? Any further discussion? Yes,
Mike, is it mandatory or do we force procedurally to have these kind of accounts and anything similar to that is automatically reconciled and verified with receipts? Because this is going back to 14-15 fiscal year.
Right, that is what's done now, but in the past it wasn't. So in reconciling all the accounts, they found a variance, and that's what they're accounting for now. So now they do that.
But it's mandatory across
Yeah.
across the whole town.
okay. Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous, motion carries.
The next request is for the planning department, $484. This is due to advertising costs. They've been actually working hard and going out. As you know, Tabitha's been working on the town center plan and complete streets, and we've had to go out and do a couple RFPs for engineers for those, which required advertising that they hadn't planned on, and so they were short $484.
Most of is the advertising in like what type of the journals, public journals, is Mass Municipal Association?
Mass Municipal and Sun Chronicle
Okay,
or certain things.
all right. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Tom?
I'd like to transfer $484 from the FinCom reserve to account number 001-175-570-5302, planning board advertising.
Second.
Any final comments, questions? All those in favor? Opposed, unanimous? Okay. Next.
Now, the next account is $10,778 for communications. This is overtime. They are short again. Somebody left mid-year. We're working on now on trying to get a couple part-timers into the, fill out those hours. It's hard for us to get a full-time person right now because everybody knows that the regionalization's coming up, but we may be able to get, we have 2 part-timers that are completely trained, and we're hoping they'll come on board so that we won't have the overtime costs that we had this year.
Okay. Yes, Paul?
We still look on running our own communications for another fiscal year before
Yes.
this, the new thing goes into effect.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Tom?
I make a motion to transfer from the FinCom reserve $10,778 to account number 001-290-510-5131, Communications Department overtime.
Second.
All those, any additional questions? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Next.
The next is $1,748 for the dog officer. I probably slashed his overtime last year, and Paul didn't correct me on it last year like he did this year. And so we were short in his overtime account.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
I just heard, just before this meeting, he got called out because someone got bit by a dog.
Is that right? Jeez.
Wasn't a big old.
Okay,
Yeah, there we go. Well,
so that's going to be 1,748. Okay, any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Tom?
make a motion to move $1,748 from the FinCom reserve to account number 001-292-510, dog officer overtime.
Is there a second?
second.
Okay, and final questions? All those in, yes, Steve?
Sorry, I did have one. Explain, you keep talking about the last couple of years about controlling this account and overtime and trying to, I don't call it mandate, but trying to get control of his hours. I know he does a great job.
Yeah,
How does that work? So he has a normal lot of hours,
right.
and then if he gets a call, he has to go out. So is all of this overtime for those kind of calls?
What we've emphasized with the communications department is we don't want him being called on Saturdays and Sundays for barking dog. He can go visit the people on Monday, but in an instance like this where someone was bitten, then he's got to go out.
So that's what, these are really emergencies.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other additional questions? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous?
Just on that too, a lot of times, you won't believe how many times, like, if the ambulance has to go to some elderly person's house that's by themselves, but they have a dog, a lot of times he has to come because the dog doesn't want to let them in the house, so he'll come and help them out. The next one is $590 for the dog officer for propane costs higher than he anticipated.
Okay. And that's for
For heat?
the building?
Yes.
Okay, any questions? Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that
Tom.
we move $590 out of the FinCom reserve to account number 001-292-570-5211, dog officer, animal control.
is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any final questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Next.
The next is $100 for the public health nurse, just a miscalculation of what her longevity was, and it was $100 off.
Okay. A motion? Any questions before I make a motion? Nope, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move we transfer $100 from the FinCom reserve, account number 001-522-510-5132, public health nurse longevity.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any final questions, comments? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous? Next.
The next is for the Council on Aging, utilities, their heating bill. They didn't expect to need to heat the building as much as they had to this April. Beth said that put her over, and looking for $119.
Okay, any questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to
Yes,
move
Tom.
$119 out of the FinCom reserve to account number 001-541-570-5211, Council on Aging.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any final comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed, unanimous? Next.
And the last one is $4,162 for the gas and diesel account. And just the increase in the fuel prices this year, and we're analyzing the usage reports to see where most of that was used. I know a good deal of it was during the March storms. They were out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, working on those days to clear things up, so drove up some of it.
Okay.
Is it the amount that's printed?
What's that?
Is it the amount that's printed, the 4,148.29?
Yes.
Okay. I thought I heard
Did I read the wrong number? I probably read the one on my sheet that I had instead of, yes, $4,148.29. Thanks, Bonnie.
Additional comments, questions?
So this is basically just gas for the
Yeah.
plows. I mean, we know we have plow overages and,
Right, for cruisers and highway department.
right. So that comes up as salary, but this is what actually
Yep.
pushes the truck along. Gotcha.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
Any motion?
Yep, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Tom?
I move $4,148.29 to account number 001940 miscellaneous gas and fuel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any final comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, move along here. Also on our agenda this evening is our town moderator, Bill Gouveia, is going to come out and talk to the Finance Committee. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize if I look tired. I have not gotten home yet after 4 days in New Hampshire with 3 of my grandchildren, and I'm lucky to be standing at all.
We all know.
Yeah, we just got back, and I said to my wife, "You have to get me to that meeting." I said I'd be there. A couple quick things that I just wanted to talk about. It's very rare for me to come to a Finance Committee meeting, as most of you who have been around a while will know. And I'm doing it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think it's in the job description somewhere that it says every once in a while, you got to talk to the Finance Committee and make sure that they know you're still, alive and kicking, other than sending reappointment letters. And number two, there's been a few things that I just want to clarify concerning the role of the Finance Committee, concerning a lot of things. I mean, even as you know, I write a newspaper column, and I had the opportunity to write a newspaper column this past week about the advisory committee in Foxborough, which is the Finance Committee, basically, and a problem that they're having in that they're not televising their meetings, which is not an issue here, thank goodness. But it starts to get an issue because people start complaining. And town meetings and town government start changing. And at this last town meeting, the last few sessions of town meeting, we discovered that power that the people have always had to go in and change budgets in ways that are totally against all the thought and forethought that went into it, otherwise, they can do, and they will. And I'm not criticizing any specific movement that people did, but when suddenly town meeting, and I say suddenly, town meeting's always had the right to vote things the way it sees fit. That's why town meeting is town meeting. But when it starts to get to the point where the FinCom needs to be aware, where the town manager needs to be aware, where the school committee needs to be aware, we have to understand, because I had to explain more than once at the last session of town meeting that even though town officials, the FinCom, the selectmen, the town manager, have to balance the budget, the assessors and everybody, the town meeting doesn't. Town meeting can pretty much vote whatever it wants. It can vote something that's going to put you over the 2.5 limit. It can vote something that's going to put you under the 2.5 limit. Town meeting can move the funds around. And we have to be, we have to understand that, and we also have to understand that as money continues to get tighter, which every year we think that's not possible, and then every year it happens, that's going to be a more reoccurring theme. And everything starts to get more political. All of us, especially those who've been around for any kind of length of time, know that this is always political anyway. Politics is not necessarily a dirty word. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that town meeting, for all its good things, still is whoever shows up with the most votes wins. And we need to understand that, all the time. At this past town meeting, and in this past budget season, there were things that worried me. I did not handle a situation at town meeting well. One meeting when somebody stood up and started bringing up a situation that involved a rumor that had been, or not, I shouldn't say a rumor, a thing that I'm not sure had anything to do with what was really going on, but was being treated as such. And I should have handled that better. And I've apologized to the person who I spoke to at that time, but in my position as moderator, I needed to handle that better. And I said to myself, okay, I can't be the only person who's doing that. So, and then in watching one of the Finance Committee meetings, I was concerned at the Finance Committee at one point of doing the same thing that basically I had done, of sometimes jumping to facts not in evidence or facts that are irrelevant. And I want to make sure that if we think that somebody is doing something for reasons that they shouldn't have, that we make sure we know what we're talking about and we make sure we can back it up before we bring it up. And as moderator, I have to make sure that when things come before town meeting, we're talking about not people's reputation and character, and not things that are alleged in a personal nature, but things that can be shown and can be told to be factual. I want to make sure that happens, because as much as I leave you folks alone, and I think you'll all pretty much universally testify that at least as far as FinCom matters go, I'm pretty much a hands-off, kind of moderator. But people always talk to me, oh, you got to get that FinCom under control, or gee, that FinCom is really good. And I always laugh it off, because they used to say that when I was on the FinCom, and usually I was the target. It was either me or Paul, and so we were the targets of doing that. So I'm used to that, but I want to make sure that the FinCom understands that I expect my FinCom members to do one thing, and one thing only, when I appoint them. I expect them to be themselves and bring their own perspective to the committee in accordance with all the rules and regulations of the town and the state. That's all I ask. As all of you know, I don't ask what your politics are. I don't ask where you stand on certain issues. I just ask for your general outtake of the town. And I could not be more proud of the Finance Committee that we have. Every one of you, and everyone who's not here, has been either appointed or reappointed by me. So, frankly, if everybody complains about the job that I've done as moderator after 10 years for a while, the one thing to me that they can't complain about is the Finance Committee, because I'm extremely proud to have appointed the committee and to have it gone as smoothly and as professionally as it has. But I want to make sure that we stay that way. I want to make sure that the people in the town and the people at town meeting understand what it is you folks do. And as part of that, your role in speaking out is critical. It shouldn't be muted, as far as I'm concerned. Doesn't mean you have to be as big a mouth as I am, but it does mean that hearing from FinCom members speaking out, whether it's on the floor of town meeting or on issues that go before the town, is critical in my mind. In many towns, I talk to a lot of moderators, and in many towns, they don't want the FinCom speaking, whether it's at town meeting or at other things. They have this feeling that the FinCom is supposed to be, totally objective and not have any opinions about anything, and except as a body. I don't believe that. Anybody who ever watched me on the FinCom or as town moderator knows that I don't believe that. So I encourage the fact that FinCom members of this committee, speak out and be leaders. A lot of town meetings have their FinComs sit together, whether at town meeting, whether it's up on the stage or off to one side. I've never done that. I don't like that. If you guys told me you wanted to consider it, I would certainly listen to the arguments and consider it, but I think that's just a terrible idea, because once you folks have acted as a body and made your recommendations, I think one of the great strengths is that people will stand up no matter where they're seated at town meeting, and they properly identify themselves as a FinCom member, and they say, you know, and I want to explain that I'm for this or I'm against this, and this is the reason. It makes a big difference for people to be able to hear that. I want to make sure that all the members of this committee understand that I think that's a plus and not in any way a minus. I think the more we hear from FinCom members, you know, doesn't mean I'm real crazy about the idea of all of you holding a Bill Gavere for moderator sign or something like that outside the town meeting. God knows that wouldn't happen. But, you know, political is not necessarily a bad thing. And I think that this committee, more than most, understands that town meeting is not something that just happens through the magic of democracy. It takes an awful lot of work. It takes, if people knew how much you folks have to study the budget, how much you have to understand how one action affects another action, they would really start to realize that, you know, you can't just go to town meeting and move money. You can, but you can't. And as much as I will stand up for and fight and defend the right of anybody to make a proper motion on the floor of town meeting to do these things, I just want to make sure that the FinCom understands that, at least from their moderator, now you may, my opinion may not be shared by everybody in town or all town officials, but I want to make sure that I think a well-spoken and professionally spoken finance committee is the best thing that you can do to try to get town meeting to understand and to do, you know, and to do those things. I don't tell you guys that you're doing a really good job all the time, because if I didn't think you were going to do a really good job, I wouldn't have appointed you in the first place. So the fact that you do a really good job is secondary. But as looking around at other towns and then looking at our own town, I see a trend where things can get worse. I see a trend where, Mike was just here, Mike is a professional and a good guy and has the interests of the town at heart, but I can see situations where it gets tougher between the finance committee and the town manager. I can see situations where it gets tougher between the Board of Selectmen and the finance committee. Not that it's been a real serious problem in this town, but it does happen. And we're fortunate to have a finance committee that isn't afraid to say, hey, no, I think you're wrong when you're wrong, and a town manager who, you know, who does the same thing. That doesn't always happen. And I said to Rick, you know, I said there were a few things that people got upset about, both at me and at the FinCom. Frankly, I think they had more reason to be upset at me than they did at the FinCom. But I just want to make sure that nobody feels that they have to, especially at town meeting, that they have to take a second seat, that they have to step back, that they have to, you know, in any way not show that they're a member of the FinCom, not stand up and, in the words of some, you know, kind of dominate the discussion. You're the ones that have all the arguments brought to you. You're the ones that are appointed pretty much for the sole reason of making recommendations to people on how they should vote. If you don't talk to them on the issues, even though they shun you on a regular basis by not coming to your meetings, but hey, we all know that that's just part of the way it goes. You know, I mean, that's government in particular everywhere. Yeah, if you can't do that, then the system can't possibly work as well as it should. So that's a long, convoluted way of saying that, you know, once every 5 or 6 years, I try to show up and say thank you for doing your job. Try to tell you to always remember that more is expected of you, frankly, than most other town positions. Selectmen have to get elected, moderators have to get elected, all these people have to get elected. You just have to do your jobs. And I've always said, and Paul taught me this, you know, early on when we came on, this is the most important committee in the entire town. This is where the citizenry gets to flesh out what's being done and what happens. And the questions you ask and the things you do are so that people don't have to do it. at town meeting, so that they have faith and confidence, yeah, in you. And I listened to some of the other restrictions, and every town does things differently. In some places, they don't let the FinCom make the motions at town meeting. They, the selectmen do it, or different people do it, all this stuff. I think our system is great, and I think it's partially because even in the rough years, we've had a good FinCom. And so that's what I kind of wanted to do. Also, I wanted to bring you news that Mike Thomas's wife, Ellen, was just in the hospital down in North Carolina. Everything, I think, is going to be okay. She's still in the hospital and will be for a few days, but I just wanted you guys to know that she and Mike are now doing well. But since we do keep track of our retired members, too, I just wanted to let you know that. And then lastly, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I just wanted to make sure that if there are any questions, I know that, I talk to you all individually at different social events and different, other things. If there's any questions, any concerns you have, anything you are, have concerns with the moderator or doing, I'm more than happy to listen, more than happy to work with you. And any suggestion you have to make town meeting go more smoothly, go in such a way that we can really help the citizenry understand, I'd really like to do that. So that's my summertime, I got nothing better to do, and I should have stayed in New Hampshire speech. So if anybody has any questions or...
Questions for Bill?
Very good. Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming and addressing us and supporting us.
No problem. As I said, I could not be more proud. I may screw up at a town meeting, but I'll tell you, we've done a good job in the Finance Committee. The new members, the more senior members, and everybody. And the fact that there's still members on this committee that I was on the committee with is just amazing to me. So it speaks well. So, I'm not looking at anybody in particular.
Right.
Has to be in the same angle, right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks for coming. All right. Okay, I think what's left is, in your packet should be 2 meeting minutes that we need to review and approve. And these are the April 18th and the April 23rd. Why don't we start with the 18th?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. All right.
On the first table under budget discussions, we have an 8-0 vote listed with
Yeah,
Mike and Will against. Is that 8-2?
should be 8-2. No, it's going to be, who's,
Yeah, and I wasn't here, so. it must-
Tom was not here. This is, I think Peter was taking, I'm not sure,
Yeah, he was.
taking these notes. So let's,
So it should be 8-2.
it should be 8-2, yeah. You, Kaylee? Yeah. So we'll amend that to,
There's a similar issue in the table at the bottom. It says the vote was 5-4, and the only person listed against is Steve.
I think
Yeah.
Steve should abstain.
so we just got to,
Yeah.
all right. So why don't we look at, start with the budget discussions. We have 8-2 on the accounts, 510 and 175, 510, and 570. Do we see anything moving down on Articles 20 through 23, the votes?
No, those are okay,
All
but
set.
Those are fine.
The next one said it's the third one,
Okay.
or the fourth one, actually.
Fourth one, okay,
Fourth
so that's
one.
630, 510, and 630, 570. Those should be
those some,
First one should be 5 to 4 to 1. And
541, yeah.
It should say abstain, because Steve abstained.
Yeah, 541, and then the second one should be 802.
No, 8-2. I believe that, if I remember correctly, Stephen Walter just voted no on that. It was
Yeah,
not an
I think that,
abstention.
I think that's correct, yes.
So that 8-2 would be correct then.
that
Yeah,
8-2
two
is
would be-
correct.
Be 8
Right.
to 1 to 1.
Oh, okay.
On both?
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Walter, do you remember what yours was?
I think I voted against that one.
So then it would be an 8-1
To 1, okay. All right. Page 2, account number 292510. That should be right, 6 to 4.
Well, we have no idea who was for and who was against.
Yeah,
So
'cause it
what's the
was-
protocol? The people that voted such, then we listed them, because in this one it's blank. We see that there's 4 that voted either.
Right, it's the same issue.
Well, always
Recreation.
the first is 4, the first number. Second number is against.
Right.
Right,
Uh,
there's nobody listed.
But there's nobody listed yet.
Yeah.
No names listed.
We usually list.
Oh,
We usually, the policy has been to list
Yeah.
those who were on the losing side, whichever
Right.
way it went, would be.
okay,
I have no idea.
this one,
I can't remember who voted how on recreation, but other than that, I don't remember animal control.
all right, maybe what we'll have to do is,
Let's look at the instant replay. Go back,
yeah,
play it in slow motion a few
Yeah.
times,
yeah,
back and forth.
Actually, we could ask Peter,
yeah, Peter, well,
when Peter comes back.
yeah, actually, Peter's notes, he might
probably
have
have
his
his
notes.
Yeah,
demonstrate.
Peter would be
Yeah.
the one that,
So we'll hold this, and then moving on, 171,570. Makes sense,
Two would be right.
okay.
The rest of them, it's down to the last one.
Yeah.
Review of minutes. I don't know what minutes, which minutes.
Next meeting,
Oh, right there.
no, they did.
326, 328, and 44.
Yeah. So why is that abstained?
Well, because Steve probably wasn't here.
Probably wasn't there, but
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, you don't vote on minutes where you weren't
Yeah,
there.
right.
But it should still
There you
equal
go.
10.
it should still equal 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still should equal 10.
Okay, so that's a question.
Well, wait, doesn't necessarily
no.
have to equal 10, because there may have only been 9 people nine people here.
Right, on March 26th, there
Yeah, on
may have
those
only been 8 of
different
us here.
dates.
But
Yeah.
But you're voting the
But it-
minutes, you're
at
voting
this
for those
meeting,
minutes.
so it should
This
still
meeting.
equal 10. If somebody
Right.
abstained because they.
Of that
voted on
meeting.
the
But
26th,
this-
they'd still
yeah,
be listed
we're-
as a column.
10 people
I see what you're saying.
here.
Yep.
There's gotta be another abstention in there somewhere.
All right, so
Yeah.
why don't we send Peter an update, just asking those questions?
Yeah.
And,
Vote on it at our next
yeah,
meeting.
so we'll just hold that to the April 18th with questions. Let's move to April 23rd.
That's just the vote to adjourn us to.
This one, high school. Do we have a high school?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Amy.
this
Yeah.
meeting on the 23rd definitely did
Yeah,
not take place at North
exactly,
High
I
School.
was just going to say, yeah. That would be,
No.
yeah,
Well, because I wasn't,
Selectmen's meeting, well, that was,
and I remember this conversation.
No, that was here.
okay.
Yeah, Luke's.
Selectmen's
Yeah,
meeting room.
that's right.
Is there any other changes, or?
Is
Yes,
the
Bonnie.
name of the Weston and Sampson gentleman Francis X?
Oh.
Or is X a placeholder?
No, Fran,
Actually,
I can get,
then
I-
it says Mr. Fran, so I don't know if
Yeah.
that's accurate. I don't remember his name, but I'm fairly certain it's not Francis X.
we can get that, or we can, maybe we can do is, so we can get these approved. Mr. Fran, I can get that.
There's something.
Or just strike Fran and just by Weston and Sampson. And we can approve the meeting minute.
Can
Is
we just
everyone
change it
comfortable
to
with that?
A representative of Weston?
Yeah,
and
yeah. Is everyone comfortable with that? We'll just change it to a
Because we really didn't
representative.
vote on anything. What we did was tabled it.
Right.
Tabled
So
it till
by a
after they had the
representative.
public hearing, so.
Okay. So again, to which the representative,
This was the conversation we had about them needing to go a little deeper than they originally
Correct.
thought.
yeah,
That they
Yeah.
had to go 12 feet instead of
Right.
8.
right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Am I missing the explanation of that in here? And is, we're explaining that, the reason for the increase is because of unforeseen construction not included in the original quote. I think that almost goes without saying. I would like it if the minutes were to include specifically what we were talking about. I mean, as we revisit this 6 months from now, I don't know that any of us will remember that it was specifically the depth, the boring test results that came back, that found ledge.
Yep.
Does
Yeah, I mean, if my memory serves, I think also, wasn't it an additional of 3 pumps added to the 6 pump, to the complete all the pumps? I'm not sure, I'd have to check my
Yeah, at
notes.
this point, I don't remember, but, I think that's,
But I think we're,
I think we need to see the meeting, we need to see the minutes for the April 25th meeting, because that's when we actually voted on this.
yeah,
Because we waited for them to, that's what it said. We didn't vote on this and continued this discussion till after the public hearing. Okay?
Yeah.
And then it looks like our next meeting was scheduled for the 25th.
which we did
don't
have a
any
meeting,
minutes for.
yeah. We
Wait,
don't
but-
have the minutes set for that.
We adjourned at 7:30 for the public hearing that lasted 45 seconds because no one attended.
Right,
And then we resumed conversation for 35 more minutes following that if we didn't adjourn till 8:04. I don't think it took us 35 minutes to approve 2 meetings worth of minutes, although the discussion of these 2 meetings worth of minutes might indicate otherwise. So I have no idea what we discussed from 7:33 until
Yeah,
8:04.
You're right, we came back in, and if you notice in the following page, he's got DeLuca, vote unanimous, motion carries. I'm assuming that we voted to accept it. I have no idea. You're right. We
To
did
approve the
adjourn.
minutes.
We adjourned for the public hearing, and then we came back into session again
right.
to pick up where we left off on this.
Right,
He did continue the presentation.
Yes, he did.
yes.
Yeah, he did, because it was our public hearing. I'm
I do remember.
thinking it was their public hearing.
No, it was ours.
It was ours.
Right,
You're absolutely right.
all right, so why
We
don't,
adjourned for that. I think both
Still
these
trapped,
minutes
I
have to
tell
be
ya.
reviewed.
yeah, I think we have to revisit these
Yeah.
ones if we can.
Yeah.
That's why a member shouldn't be taking notes.
They're two-
Try to participate
So why don't we do that?
It just,
Kaylee, is that,
We can do that at our next meeting.
this, we'll
whenever
go
that
over,
Well, that's
the-
it. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to.
we can ask Peter on his notes, see if we can
Yeah,
Because we went
okay.
back up
PDF
after.
Yeah, we did.
After our public hearing. and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we need a backup.
Yeah, we did.
Good.
All right, so we're all in agreement that we'll revisit these, table these, revisit them once we get a little bit more information,
Right.
either the video or...
That'll be
because
good.
I don't know if we voted on this funding
Yeah, we had
at
to.
that meeting, but it doesn't
Oh.
say anything about it.
I think we did, after the public hearing.
After the public hearing, I
After the
think
public
that Fran
hearing.
finished
We
and we
We
voted,
voted it, just.
but I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
We'll revisit. We'll
We
get
should-
video,
Table both of these until our next
Yeah.
meeting, but
yeah. Okay, so with that, is there any other business anyone wants to bring up before we adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Here, Steve, anything? Oh, all right. All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
He thinks you're a troublemaker.